Hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Remember when television looked at a completely straight-faced premise and said, yes, a talking horse will work? From 1961 to 1966, Mr. Ed aired on CBS following Wilbur Post, played by Alan Young, and his Palomino horse, Mr. Ed, performed by Bamboo Harvester and voiced by Alan Rocky Lane, who could talk but only to Wilbur. Neighbors thought Wilbur was losing his mind. The horse thought Wilbur was the problem. Based loosely on a 1940 short story, Mr. Ed turned a suburban barn into a sitcom battleground, mixing domestic comedy with surreal logic and a horse who had better timing than most humans in Hollywood. It sounded like a novelty. It looked ridiculous on the surface, and yet it ran for 6 seasons, won a Golden Globe, and became one of the strangest success stories in TV history. Today, we're counting down 15 weird facts about Mr. Ed. Now, before we jump in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. It helps us keep digging up the weird stuff that you guys seem to like. So let's see what's going on around the farm with number 15. The peanut butter story was a complete lie. For decades, the official explanation of how Mr. Ed talked was delightfully simple. Peanut butter. Smear some inside the horse's mouth, watch him try to lick it out, and boom, talking horse. That's a total fabrication. Alan Young eventually admitted he invented the whole thing. Not for publicity or ratings, though. He was just tired of explaining the real technique to children who wanted a fun answer, not a technical one.
I said, well, when you were a kid, did you ever get peanut butter stuck under your lip? Oh, that's how it's done. So I never really lied. I just asked him a question. But that wasn't true at all.
Peanut butter sounded whimsical and harmless, and it let everyone move on with their day. Now here's the part that makes the lie even more absurd. Peanut butter would have been genuinely dangerous. Animal experts later pointed out it posed choking hazards and potential digestive problems. Slathering it inside a valuable show horse's mouth between takes would have been wildly irresponsible, but the myth outlived the truth by decades. So how did the producers actually get Mr. Ed to talk? Well, we'll get to that in a bit. Number 14, Mr. Ed was played by an overqualified show horse named Bamboo Harvester. His real name was Bamboo Harvester, and he didn't audition for Mr. Ed, so much so as graciously accepted the role that was beneath him.
Hey, wait. I'm not through yet.
You know I like to read it with my coffee.
Well, I like to read it with my hay.
Well, I'm sorry.
Before Hollywood came calling, this Palomino was already racking up championship wins at Madison Square Garden and trotting through the Pasadena Rose Parade like he owned the route. Foaled in 1949, he was a mix of American saddlebred and Arabian bloodlines, which are practically engineered for showing off.
You call, Saeed?
Never mind that. What's with the dark glasses and the pith helmet?
I'm joining the Peace Corps.
His sire was literally named the Harvester, which sounds less like a horse and more like someone collecting debts in a Clint Eastwood movie. His trainer, Les Hilton, was a protege of Will Rogers, so even the guy teaching him tricks came with old Hollywood credentials stitched into his jacket. He played Mr. Ed from 1961 to 1966, and production never once shipped him off mid-season. Number 13, there were 2 Mr. Eds, and one of them needed makeup. Bamboo Harvester was the talent, but even talent needs a day off, and that's where Pumpkin entered the picture. Pumpkin was a quarter horse brought in as a stunt double, and he looked so much like Bamboo Harvester that the crew figured they could swap them out whenever the schedule demanded it, but there was one small problem. Pumpkin had a gold-colored spot in his white facial markings, a dead giveaway if you knew where to look. The fix was to slap some white makeup on the horse and hope nobody notices. Since the show was filmed in black and white, it worked like a charm. Somewhere, a makeup artist added equine cosmetics to their resume and moved on with their life. Pumpkin became the PR horse. Easier to wrangle, happy to pose for photos, and thrilled to make appearances. Bamboo Harvester preferred to save his energy for the camera. Diva behavior, but it was well earned. Number 12, Mr. Ed was basically a Studebaker commercial that talked back. Wilbur Post drove a Studebaker in almost every episode. This wasn't a creative choice, it was a contractual obligation with chrome trim. Mr. Ed was sponsored by Studebaker, and sponsored is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Figures. You have to drive the lark to believe it. See your Studebaker dealer tomorrow and take a demonstration drive.
Tell him we sent you.
The car company went far beyond buying ad time. They bankrolled the entire operation. After the pilot failed to land a network, Studebaker stepped in and pushed the show directly into syndication across more than 100 stations nationwide. CBS only picked it up after audiences proved they'd watch a horse talk about his feelings every week. Studebaker got their investment back tenfold. Wilbur drove a parade of their models, the Larks, the Wagoneers, whatever needed showcasing that season. The Wagoneer sliding roof became a favorite, mostly because it allowed for promo shots of Mr. Ed standing in the cargo area like he was supervising a delivery. Then 1966 happened. Studebaker shut down car production, and suddenly the show's entire aesthetic aged about 40 years overnight. Almost every episode now featured a guy proudly driving a vehicle from a company that no longer existed. The built-in advertising deal went from clever to museum piece in a matter of months. Mr. Ed ended that same year. Coincidence? Maybe, but watching your primary sponsor vanish tends to change the math a bit. Number 11, the theme song was an accident.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course.
The Mr. Ed theme song was written by Jay Livingston, the same guy who co-wrote But the version burned into your brain wasn't supposed to be the final product. Livingston recorded his vocals as a demo, a placeholder meant to guide whatever polished singer the producers eventually hired. Instead, they heard his folksy casual delivery, and they decided to keep it.
That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed.
The demo became the theme, a rough draft that accidentally became permanent. It worked beautifully. It was catchy, cheerful, and completely sincere about its ridiculous premise.
Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give you the answer that you endorse.
A horse is a horse, of course, and somehow that logic held up for 6 seasons. Then the 1980s happened. During the Satanic Panic, a fundamentalist group in Ohio decided the wholesome theme song was hiding something sinister. Their claim was play it backward and you'd hear secret messages. Phrases like, someone sung this song for Satan, and this is real, the horse is the devil. The accusation was complete nonsense, born from the same paranoid logic that turned rock albums and Saturday morning cartoons into imaginary recruitment tools for the underworld, but the show's creators laughed it off and fans ignored it.
He's always on a steady course. Talk to Mr. Ed.
Number 10, Mr. Ed wouldn't work without his trainer. Bamboo Harvester had talent, awards, and a resume that put most of Hollywood to shame. What he did not have was patience for nonsense.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the noblest horse of all? You handsome devil, you.
The horse was deeply bonded to his trainer, Les Hilton, and that bond came with conditions. If Hilton wasn't nearby, Mr. Ed refused to work. Alan Young could deliver his lines with all the enthusiasm in the world. It didn't matter. The horse would stand there like a very expensive prop, offering nothing. As far as Mr. Ed was concerned, if a cue didn't come from Hilton, it didn't count. So Hilton had to be present for every single shot, right off camera, giving hand signals and body cues like a conductor running a very opinionated orchestra. And when Mr. Ed got tired or bored or simply decided the scene wasn't worth his energy, he'd calmly walk off set and head back to his stable. Production stopped, nobody chased him, you waited until the star felt like returning back to the shot. The dynamic had a strange logic to it. Hilton played the disciplinarian, the only authority Mr. Ed respected. Young played the soft touch. Whenever Hilton scolded the horse for missing a cue, Mr. Ed would reportedly trot straight over to Young for comfort.
I believe my horse is entitled to one of those balloons.
Balloon?
He's only 8 years old.
Oh, well, no problem, sir. No problem. We always give our little four-legged friends balloons.
Like a kid running to the nice parent after getting a lecture. The humans memorized scripts and hit their marks, but the horse, he dictated the schedule. Number 9, Mr. Ed was powered by sugar. Every star has its rider, the list of demands that keeps them happy on set. Bamboo Harvester kept it simple. Sweetened drinks, delivered regularly, no questions asked. Production assistants learned quickly that Mr. Ed had developed a taste for sugar water, sometimes mixed with molasses, sometimes dressed up as sweet tea, depending on who's telling the story. Either way, the horse expected it as part of his daily routine, and nobody was about to argue. Some accounts call it a treat, others call it a bribe. The crew probably called it the cost of doing business with a four-legged diva. The drinks kept Bamboo Harvester calm, cooperative, and willing to hit his marks without wandering back to the stable mid-scene. Given his well-documented habit of walking off set whenever he felt like it, a little sugar was a small price for a completed shooting day. Pair that with roughly 20 pounds of hay and you've got a star running on pure carbohydrates and confidence. Nutritionists would faint.
Hey, Wilbur, how do you like this trick?
Well, I didn't know you could balance a ball. That's very good. Take a bow, Ed.
The production schedule stayed intact though. Number 8, Mr. Ed won so many awards, he made human actors nervous. Between 1962 and 1965, Mr. Ed became a Patsy Award regular, multiple years in a row. The award honored exceptional animal performances in film and television, and Mr. Ed treated it like his own personal collection. That kind of streak put him in rare company. Lassie, Flipper, Francis the Talking Mule, Bamboo Harvester walked right into the club and started rearranging the furniture. Now, keep in mind, this horse already had championship ribbons from Madison Square Garden and parade credentials that most performers would kill for. The Patsy wins were just him adding a television wing to an already crowded trophy case. Then came 1963, when the show won the Golden Globe for Best Television Series, Comedy or Musical. The actual award beating out sitcoms with fully human casts and premises that didn't require suspending all logic at the door. The Hollywood Foreign Press decided a show about a man arguing with his horse in a barn was the best comedy on the air.
My horse is chicken.
That's right.
Critics had been treating Mr. Ed like a novelty act, something cute for kids that adults tolerated while waiting for the news. That Golden Globe forced a recalibration. The writing was sharper than anyone wanted to admit, and the chemistry between Alan Young and a Palomino outperformed most human duos on network television. Young later said Bamboo Harvester was one of the finest actors he ever worked with, and he meant actors, not animal actors. The horse understood timing, hit his marks, and he nailed reaction beats like he'd studied at Juilliard instead of a stable.
You are asleep.
Rock-a-bye, baby.
Human actors spent entire careers hoping for one nomination. A Palomino from California quietly swept multiple categories for about half a decade. Okay, we're halfway through this video and we have to take a quick break because if you're enjoying this trot through television's strangest sitcom, hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure to tell us in the comments, what's your favorite Mr. Ed moment? We promise to actually read them, unlike Wilbur's neighbors who never listened to a word he said. Alright, let's get back to the barn with number 7, Clint Eastwood got upstaged by a horse. Before Dirty Harry, before the spaghetti westerns, and before the Oscars, Clint Eastwood got outsmarted by a talking Palomino on a CBS sitcom. In Season 2, Episode 25, Clint Eastwood Meets Mr. Ed, Eastwood played himself.
How about this play that we're doing for charity?
Oh, Hilda. You know, horses who act this way are usually pretty smart. In fact, you should have seen Midnight at first. He's so well trained now, though, the studio insisted on buying him from me. Want to ship him off to Europe for a big picture.
At the time, he was starring in Rawhide, famous enough for a guest spot, but years away from becoming the Clint Eastwood the world would eventually know. The appearance wasn't random. Arthur Lubin, the producer behind Mr. Ed, gave Eastwood his first film contract and cast him in Francis in the Navy, a movie about a talking mule. Eastwood owed his early career to a man who specialized in giving dialogue to animals. Years later, Eastwood told the New York Times that playing himself on the show taught him something. That playing yourself is the hardest thing a professional actor can do. Clint Eastwood had a genuine acting breakthrough, courtesy of a horse. Number 6, Mr. Ed retired quietly and left even quieter. When Mr. Ed wrapped its final season in 1966, Bamboo Harvester did what most stars only talk about. He actually retired.
How much longer, Wilbur?
No comeback tour, no guest spots, no desperate attempt to stay relevant. He just simply walked away from the camera and never looked back. He spent his remaining years on a ranch in California, living a calm private life about as far from a soundstage as you could get. His trainer, Les Hilton, remained close, still visiting, still looking after the horse he'd worked with for over a decade. That bond never broke. Hilton had been with him since before the show, and he wasn't about to disappear just because the credits stopped rolling. By the late 1960s, Bamboo Harvester was dealing with the realities of aging, arthritis, kidney problems, the kind of decline that doesn't make headlines but changes everything. Then, in 1970, while Hilton was away, a temporary caregiver found the horse struggling to rise after rolling in his stall. Thinking a tranquilizer would help, the caregiver administered a shot. Within hours, Bamboo Harvester was gone. He was around 20 years old. The people closest to the show made a deliberate decision to say nothing. Children were still watching Mr. Ed reruns across the country, and announcing that their favorite talking horse was dead felt unnecessarily cruel, so they kept it silent. Pumpkin stepped into the spotlight full-time with parades, photo ops, and promotional events.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
As far as the public knew, Mr. Ed was alive and well and still had plenty of opinions about oats. Bamboo Harvester was cremated and Hilton scattered the ashes privately. No fanfare, no headlines, just a trainer saying goodbye to the horse that made television history. Number 5. Fans spent decades visiting the wrong Mr. Ed. For years, devoted fans made pilgrimages to a grave in Oklahoma, convinced they were paying respects to television's most beloved talking horse. Photos were taken, flowers were left, and a granite monument was even dedicated in 1990, marking the spot as Mr. Ed's final resting place. One small detail about that, it's the wrong horse. The horse buried in Oklahoma was Pumpkin, the backup performer who handled publicity appearances after the show ended and kept the Mr. Ed illusion alive for nearly a decade. When Pumpkin died in 1979, the media ran obituaries for Mr. Ed, complete with tributes and memorials without realizing they were mourning the understudy. The story calcified into accepted fact, and nobody bothered to correct it. Meanwhile, the real Mr. Ed had been gone for 9 years already with no monument, no roadside attraction, and no pilgrimages. Historians eventually untangled the mess, but by then, the Oklahoma grave had taken on a life of its own. Thousands of people visited, left tributes, and paid their respects to a horse they never actually watched on television. The memorial became less about biographical accuracy and more about what Mr. Ed meant to people, which honestly might be the most fitting legacy a talking horse could ask for. Number 4, the first Mr. Ed pilot was a mess and the horse was wrong. The original pilot wasn't even called Mr. Ed, it was titled The Wonderful World of Wilbur Pope, and yes, that should tell you everything about how well it went. Wilbur's last name was Pope, not Post.
Now, if we keep him, we'll have a real farm.
Oh, Wilbur, haven't we gone to enough expense buying this house without adding the cost of a horse?
A different actor played him, and the horse was a chestnut gelding with a reputation for being unruly and unpredictable. The tone leaned chaotic instead of charming, like the production couldn't decide if they were making a comedy or a cautionary tale about livestock ownership. Networks passed, and the project was essentially dead. Then, trainer Les Hilton got a 1-month deadline to find a better horse or watch the whole thing disappear. He started scouting around the San Fernando Valley and eventually landed at a farm where a palomino named Bamboo Harvester was living a quiet, trophy-filled existence. Calm, intelligent, and camera-ready, everything the first horse wasn't. The production bought him for $1,500, roughly what a decent used car cost at the time. After that, the pieces fell into place. Wilbur became Wilbur Post, Alan Young stepped into the role, the wisecracking tone finally clicked, and that second pilot, launched into syndication, caught fire with audiences and landed on CBS for a 6-season run from 1961 to 1966. Number 3, the internet once decided Mr. Ed was a zebra. For years, a story bounced around the internet claiming Mr. Ed wasn't actually a horse. According to the myth, he was a zebra, painted white, because zebras were supposedly easier to film in black and white than actual horses. The story spread like wildfire, confident, authoritative, and completely false. Turns out the whole thing was a deliberate hoax created by Snopes of all places. The fact-checking website ran a side project called the Repository of Lost Legends. Spell out the acronym and you get TROLL, designed to test how easily misinformation spreads when it looks credible enough. Mr. Ed became the bait. The internet swallowed it whole.
Will you buy me contact lenses? If it's the money, I'm sure the SPCA will kick in half.
I told you to go to the barn.
The original article even hid a clue in plain sight. The first letter of every paragraph spelled out false. Subtle. Apparently too subtle for anyone actually reading it. The Snopes team leader admitted the experiment worked better than expected. People didn't just believe the zebra story, they shared it, cited it, treated it as obscure Hollywood trivia worth repeating at parties. A 1960s sitcom about a talking horse accidentally became a cautionary tale about digital gullibility decades after it went off the air. Number 2, the man behind Mr. Ed's voice didn't want anyone to know. Alan Rocky Lane spent his career playing tough guys in B-movie westerns. Guns drawn, jaw clenched, voicing a sarcastic barn horse was not part of the 5-year plan. Lane provided Mr. Ed's unmistakable voice.
And I didn't forget to smile for the newsreel camera, right, Wilbur?
Right. You were one big dimple from your head down to your tail.
That deep, gravelly, deadpan delivery that made every wisecrack land. He recorded his lines off camera, watching footage of Bamboo Harvester and timing each syllable to match the horse's lip movements. The performance was meticulous, professional, and something he absolutely did not want his name attached to. He refused credit.
She sure makes a horse want to settle down.
Have you picked out a place for the honeymoon yet?
Nope, just a little stall by a waterfall.
Then one day the stork may drop a 100-pound bundle.
Yeah.
For years, the show listed no voice actor at all. When the credits rolled, viewers saw Mr. Ed as himself. The production leaned into the mystery, letting audiences believe whatever they wanted about the talking horse situation. But as the show grew into a genuine hit, Golden Globe, massive ratings, cultural phenomenon, Lane reconsidered. A voice performance millions of people heard every week, and his name was nowhere near it. So he approached the producers and asked for credit. They said no.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
By that point, the anonymity had become part of the show's charm. Kids genuinely believed Mr. Ed could talk, so why ruin it? So Lane remained uncredited for the entire run. Well compensated, widely heard, and permanently hidden behind television's most famous horse. Number 1, Mr. Ed didn't talk, he performed. Now, forget the peanut butter myth. Forget the zebra conspiracy. The real story behind Mr. Ed's talking is stranger and far more impressive than any fiction the internet can cook up. Early in production, trainer Les Hilton used a thin nylon thread looped under Bamboo Harvester's lip. A gentle tug triggered the mouth movement, perfectly timed to dialogue. Standard animal training stuff. Then the horse started showing off. As filming continued, Bamboo Harvester began learning the rhythm of conversation. He picked up on when Alan Young stopped talking. He recognized the pauses. Silence wasn't dead air, it was his cue. Eventually, the thread became unnecessary. When Young finished a line, the horse responded. Crew members reported that his talking scenes often wrapped in a single take, practically unheard of when animals are involved. He wasn't reacting to food or physical cues, he was reacting to dialogue. Sometimes he'd improvise. A yawn here, an unexpected lip movement there. The writers loved it so much, they'd occasionally add lines afterward to match whatever Bamboo Harvester naturally did.
Guess this one, Wilbur. I got a million of them. I got a million.
The performance wasn't being forced onto the horse, it was being built around him. Most animal actors hit their marks and wait for treats, but Bamboo Harvester hit the beats, baby. And there you have it, 15 weird and wild facts about Mr. Ed. Which fact surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments and be sure to subscribe and share this with a friend who loves Mr. Ed. Until next time, this is Remember When.